Then they put her in the locked unit, and that started 7 more years of, I usually say a word I'm not supposed to say in public, so but it was a horrible, horrible experience for her and for me. As a family.
What happened? What happened exactly? What made it so?
They put her in the locked unit, which was a hallway. I mean, you know, a little hallway behind locked doors that had 6 rooms. And they told her that she could never leave there. She couldn't go out. And she just went berserk. You know, nobody was going to keep her in a place like that and keep her locked in and not let her go out and see the other people. And most of the people that were in the locked unit were in a lot worse or further down the road in their progression than she was. So it was scary. I mean, she was frightened to death. And instead of the staff being able to comfort her and see that that's what was going on, she's flailing around and, you know, they're just saying she's having behaviors. So right away, they get a doctor's order for Ativan, and that's when the whole craziness started. Within 2 weeks, she was also on Seroquel, and then at times they were using risperidol, which at the time, or Haldol rather, and that's a very old and very potent drug. And so what they were doing was just medicating her into submission. And she, from that day on, throughout the 7 years, she got kicked out of 12 places, was in and out of Jerry psych units every time, they were changing her medications, you know, and I was not familiar until then with how much those medications affect that person. And how lots of times they have negative results. And for her, it was more like an emotional roller coaster. Every time I went to see her, I didn't know what she was going to seem like, you know, and how she was going to be. And a lot of this sometimes happened while I was traveling and trying to work, because she was on Medicaid, and neither one of us had money. And as I went through this process with her, it was so extremely traumatic. And because I knew her as a person before, and none of these places were able to get to know her or even tried, I knew that she had been emotionally needy. So I knew a lot of what was happening with her was based on emotion. And when I brought that up to the caregivers and to the administrators and stuff like that, trying to get them to look at her like a whole human being, they would just say, oh, she's not there anymore. She doesn't know the difference. And, you know, they were looking at her like she was a piece of the furniture. And so as it went on and she was in these different nursing homes, when she would holler, which became a behavior label too, all she wanted was somebody to stop and talk to her, to pay attention to her. And when I would go in and talk to the caregivers, they'd say she was a problem because she was always yelling. And I said, why don't you just stop and talk to her? Hold her hand for a little while. Oh, we don't have time for that. And, you know, and over and over, more times than not, I was told by physicians, by nurses, by different people, that her behavior was being caused by her damaged brain. And that I was a family member in denial, and that I saw something that wasn't medically possible, that she was still in there and had emotional needs. And so it became such that throughout the rest of her life, I had to, I was kicked out of more places than I was welcomed in, only because I was trying to help them see who she was as a person. And they were not staffed to do that. The staff weren't trained to do that. The staff were trained to look at all these people sitting in wheelchairs that weren't very verbal, or when they were confusing to listen to, and to see them as not there.